There is a massive gap at the moment, isn't there? Because culturally, it seems the only limitation you put on sex is consent. If it's two consenting adults, it's fine. But that's very different from a Christian view, isn't it? How do we bridge that gap? Or can we not bridge that gap? Is that just going to be a divide that's always going to be there?
I think we want to kind of enrich the concept of consent, don't we? Because actually, I think the worst thing would be that for the church to sound like we're saying we don't care about consent, and that's been a kind of damage that's done in the past, isn't it? But I think there's something richer. There's something about the covenant. There's something about what happens in sexual intimacy and sexual union that speaks of something much bigger than just two bodies doing something. I love the Message translation of when Paul talks about this is more than skin to skin contact. There is something divine that happens here, and so I think there are films like Vanilla Sky where Cameron Diaz's character says to Tom Cruise, "I know we thought it was just sex, but actually my body made a promise to you and now I can't deal with that." And it's trying to understand that even if we put around sex this fairly tight view that it's just as long as I'm consenting, I know it's casual, I know it's just there's no strings attached, but actually our humanity seeps out of that. Actually, oftentimes we long for more, or we hope for more, or we feel more pain when that person moves on so quickly. And yet in culture, we don't often allow ourselves time to say why. And as women, because we're living in a kind of a neoliberal sense where we need to know these are our choices, we're asserting our choices, we're doing it like the boys, we're doing it better than the boys, we almost then beat ourselves up for feeling our humanity in that moment. And men need to feel their humanity too. And so working with young adults and teenagers, what I've noticed is the teenagers that I work with in schools and whatever come to me heartbroken, distressed, actually traumatized, I would say. And when we get to the bottom of it, it's because they've connected with somebody over social media or just face to face. They've shared emotional intimacy. They've talked about how they really feel about something for the first time ever. They share what they're anxious about. They share sexual intimacy. But they say to me, but it wasn't a relationship. So why do I feel so horrible now that she or he has gone somewhere else? And I say, well, that's because that is a that the fact you haven't labelled that is irrespective. What you've done is given yourself, and that's what God creates desire for. It's that ability for us to give ourselves firstly to God. That is where our desires are only ever met with embrace and love and strength. But then that enables us to offer that elsewhere. And we need wisdom around how we give ourselves. Like giving yourself to somebody else, that is such a gift. Like you're going to give yourself to someone. Don't do that, mindlessly. Do that knowingly, knowing that they're ready to receive that and they're going to be committed to you.